Marhaba, and welcome to the Matrix Green Pill, where real people connect.
Hello and welcome to the brand new episode of the Matrix Green Pill podcast. My name is Namita Thakkar, and today I'm excited to welcome the co-founder and CEO of SecureMyScholarship, Craig Fernandez. SecureMyScholarship is an edtech platform that is on a mission to make education more accessible and affordable. Wow, sounds like a dream come true, right? I'm sure just like me, you want to know more about it. So let's get all the details from Craig himself. Hi, Craig. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us today.
Hi, Namita. Hi, and hi to everybody listening. Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure to be here.
Awesome. To start off, Craig, can you tell us a bit about yourself and about SecureMyScholarship?
My parents are from Mumbai, India, but I was born here in Dubai, and Dubai is sort of home for me. Went to school in Dubai, basically grew up here, and then I went to America for university, studied at the University of Iowa for about 4 years, came back, launched my first startup. It was called Lock and Stock. It was a mobile application that helped students pay attention in class. And then about a year and a half ago, we launched SecureMyScholarship. Now, SecureMyScholarship is an edtech platform that connects students with guaranteed scholarships and fee waivers at university. Our mission is to help make education accessible and affordable for all students, regardless of caste, creed, ethnicity, language, or most importantly, financial status. For too many students out there in the world, a quality higher education is something that is very, very desired, but something that they are priced out of. Many students in the UAE, in India, in Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Africa, Nigeria, Egypt, et cetera, are simply cannot afford to go to top universities around the world. So what we do is we connect them with scholarships and fee waivers at these universities to help make it just a little bit more affordable for them to help them actually secure their spot at their dream university. Our North Star is to disperse $100 million in scholarships to students and change the lives of hundreds of thousands of people along the way. To date, in about a year and a half, we have dispersed $6.2 million to students through our platform, and we are very, very proud of that.
That sounds fantastic. But tell me one thing, Craig, how does this work? I mean, when you say that you're making it affordable, these scholarships, how does that work?
It's super simple, actually. You come to our website and there's a search bar right there on the home screen, smack dab, right in front of you, can't miss it. Type in the name of the university that you want to go to. Now, if they are one of our partner universities, and we work with about 350 universities around the world, in the US, in the UK, and every single university here in Dubai. Dubai is our base of operations. It's where we're all from. So our biggest footprint is here in Dubai. We work with every university here. But type in the name of the university that you want. And if it's one of our partner universities, it'll pop down. You click it and you go to the university's page where you read more about the university. You see what scholarships they have. And if this makes sense for you, you click a button that says Secure Scholarship. You fill in a basic form, and that's basically it. You enter a bunch of information. Maybe it'll take you about 5 minutes to fill. And once you're done, you click Submit. And that's it. You don't have to leave your bed. You don't have to leave your room. You don't have to get out of your house. Submit this form. Within a week, our team will send you your offer letter with your scholarship attached. Every single scholarship or fee waiver that you see on the platform is guaranteed. Ranges anywhere from $500 to $1,000 to all the way to 40% to 50% off at university. It's basically a marketplace. You pick what works for you, and then we rock and roll.
Sounds very, very cool. So can you tell us some of the success stories or impactful moments that impacted your life and journey at SecureMyScholarship?
My parents moved to Dubai in the early 90s for work, like many, many other people around that time. So I was born in Dubai, but I actually grew up in a satellite city of Dubai. It's called Sharjah. Grew up in a small, tiny apartment, cost us 6,000 dirhams a year, about $1,500 a year. I lived there until I was about 13 years old. So until about 2008, 2009. So not even that long ago. Both my parents worked extremely hard. My mom was a secretary. My dad was a salesman, and they both worked extremely hard. They both worked 10 something hours per day. And I was an only child, right? So they tried to make sure that I had all opportunities that were available to me that they didn't have per se. I also learned from a very, very early age that if I didn't work hard and if I didn't tick all the right boxes and cross all the T's and dot all the I's, I wouldn't actually go on to achieve anything because there were no doors that were going to be open to me. I don't have a rich uncle or godfather or something like that who would open doors for me. I worked very, very hard in school, topped my graduating class in high school, was on the cricket team, football team, swimming team, debate team, speaking team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Put together a rock solid college application and got a bunch of scholarships to go to America to study. So I learned firsthand just how difficult it is to go to study where you want to study. Because without those scholarships, I would not have been able to go. I mean, America is the most expensive destination in the world for higher education, but I wanted to go to America. I mean, that was my dream when I was 14 or 15 years old. I was able to get those scholarships. I applied to a whole bunch of universities. I got into about 8 universities, chose to go to the University of Iowa, which gave me the best scholarships. But that's how I was able to go to university. So fast forward to today, the work that we do at Secure My Scholarship deeply resonates with me personally, because I know just how important scholarships were in my life. For me to go and study at a quality institution and get the best education that I could get. And so the work that we do here at Secure My Scholarship is personally very, very important. I see it in myself and the students that come through our platform, not just for me, myself, but even for our core team as well. They all have similar stories, similar backgrounds, and they all come from middle class or working class families. This mission is particularly important to all of us.
You've been actively involved in student-related initiatives with Lock and Stock and Secure My Scholarship. Now, can you tell us a bit about your entrepreneurial journey?
I guess you can say that I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I launched my first company when I was 13 years old, literally. It was called Craig and Savio's Football Tournaments. And me and a friend, Savio through the name, we used to bunk school and we used to go to football grounds around Dubai. And we'd pitch people who came to play at these football grounds. We'd pitch them to come and play in our tournaments. That's basically what we did. We made about 8,000 to 10,000 dirhams per tournament. We organized a tournament, every couple of months. And that was what we did. But 8,000, 10,000 dirhams, not so bad when you're 13, 14 years old. I launched my second company when I was 17. It was called Football on Wheels. We used to take students at university to away football games. We put them up for a night. We'd take them to the game. We'd bring them back. The entire A to Z of that. Launched my third company when I was 19. It was called Store to Your Door. Kind of like a very small, hyper-localized version of InstaShop, I think, where students have that delivered to their doorsteps. This was a big problem in college. It's very, very hard to get groceries. When I was in my final semester at university, I was about 20 years old. It was my final semester, February of 2017, I think. It was an econ class. There were about 25, 30, 35 students in that classroom. I noticed something very peculiar that day. I don't know why, I don't know how, but just that day I noticed something very odd. I looked around the class, and out of the 25, 30 odd students in the classroom, almost each and every single one of them were on their phone or on their laptop or on their tablet. And the poor professor was just talking and talking and talking, and nobody was paying attention. Everyone was looking down on their screens. I was like, wow, this is interesting. This might actually be a real problem. What is going on here? I was curious. Went home that day, did a bunch of research, and the more I researched and the more I read up on this, the more I was just like, wow, smartphone addiction, digital addiction, these might actually be actual problems, right? This was 2017. Today, there's volumes of information on the internet about smartphone addiction, but back then, not really many people had heard of this. The more I read, the more I was convinced. So I graduated in May of 2017, came back in June, we incorporated in July, and we launched the company. We launched Lock and Stock in September 2017. It blossomed into the largest student lifestyle platform here in the UAE. The thesis was very, very simple. We wanted to get people to stay off their phones. We had to find an engaging way of keeping them off their phones. If you tell a student, why did you stay off your phone? Why did you pay more attention? He or she is going to tell you to take a hike. But around the time when we were conceiving of the solution to this problem, I was a college student. I was just graduating from college, and I was particularly broke myself. You know what? If someone gave me buy one, get one free at Papa John's or 50% off at Starbucks, maybe I would stay off my phone. I'm broke, I need the discount. Maybe I'd stay off my phone. And that was the initial value proposition that we ran with. We launched with 24 brands offering discounts for students. We told students, lock your phones, collect rewards, and get access to offers and discounts from these 24 brands. It went from there, 24 brands and 0 students in September of 2017. And by the end of 2018 or early 2019, we had about 80,000 students on the platform. We had about 1,200 partner brands, and it was huge, right? We basically built the largest student lifestyle platform here in the UAE. If you were a student in Dubai, high school or college, either you were on Lock and Stock or you had a friend who was on Lock and Stock or you used to be on Lock and Stock, the market penetration was incredible, literally. We then actually launched other verticals as well. So not only scholarships, not only offers and discounts, but also scholarships and fee waivers and jobs and internships, other verticals dealing with common student problems, right? So we're helping students get offers and discounts. That's awesome. But can we help students reduce their tuition fees? And can we help students secure internships? So other student problems per se. Something very interesting happened where, we're looking at our data, we're looking at our numbers. We actually saw that the scholarships vertical on the platform, so back then it was called Lock-in Scholarships, the scholarships platform was skyrocketing, was doing really, really well. Because all of a sudden, if you're a high school student in Dubai, now all of a sudden, you can lock your phone, you can pay better attention to class, and you can use your rewards to get, a 20% scholarship at Wollongong. And so the entire section just blew up, literally. It blew up to a point when we said, okay, fine, maybe we stumbled upon something extremely interesting here with perhaps far wider implications than what we were building before. Because how do students stay off their phones? That's awesome. Don't get me wrong, that's great. But can we actually expand our mission and help make education or higher education just more affordable to large sections of society who are priced out? So we took that vertical on Lock and Sock and we actually spun it off into a standalone brand in and of itself called SecureMyScholarship.com. This was in October of 2021. And we actually automated both platforms simultaneously for a while. The Lock and Stock application continued to run, and Secure My Scholarship also now existed as a standalone platform with a full A to Z customer journey aimed directly at students, connecting them with universities, a lot more information, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Secure My Scholarship did not stop growing from there. And earlier this year, we actually took a decision to wind down operations for the Lock and Stock mobile app and focus specifically on Secure My Scholarship because it's ironic, I think. The child had become larger than the parent. A scholarship was now growing and it just required more attention, more focus, more capital. So we said, let's focus on one thing. Let's really solve this problem. And then maybe in a couple of years, we come back to Lock and Stock. I don't know. That's our journey so far.
Fantastic and so inspiring. So, Craig, you've already been recognized as the future star and Young CEO of the Year. But for you, what are some of your greatest personal accomplishments?
When I was in college, when I was graduating college, I would get asked a lot, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? These are common questions that you ask a 19-year-old or 18-year-old or whatever. I think just owing to where I come from and my background specifically, I actually always wanted to work in a company or help build a company that could go out there and make the world a better place, actually build something that could help change lives. That's always been a passion of mine. That's been a driving force, sort of intrinsic motivation, I suppose. Because of that, the work that we did with Lock and Stock, helping, I think, just a way to stack it up, Lock and Stock accounting for over 2 million hours of total time saved. That's time that we put back in the hands of students, of young adults, of teachers, professors, educators, but 2 million hours of total time saved. That's amazing. But more than that, with Secure My Scholarship, there's $6.2 million in scholarships that we have dispersed to students from middle class and working class families. That has got to be the thing that I'm proudest of. If you would ask me my biggest achievement, I have personally seen students cry when they have received their scholarships. I've seen mothers and fathers, parents break down. I've seen grown men break down when they've received a scholarship for their child. And that it validates all of the hard work that goes into this. I'll give you a story now. I think about a year ago, this was 2022, COVID was still around. Things were not very good. The economy was a bit shaky, yada, yada. People were getting laid off. There was a student who had actually applied to a university through our platform. And this was back when it was all hands on deck. Our team is a lot smaller than what it is today. So back then it was all hands on deck. There was a student who had applied to a university through our platform, and the student applied to a university with a 30% scholarship. That's great. Submits the application. It's all hands on deck. So this student happens to come to me and verify all the information. Information was good. Submit the application, get the offer letter. Sounds good. Send the offer letter to the student. The student then actually comes back, drops a support ticket and says, my mom would like to speak to you. So I said, okay, fine, no problem. I'll speak to your mom. I don't usually do that. No issues whatsoever. So I spoke to the student's mom, and the student's mom then goes on to tell me her story. This is like early 2022, thereabouts. And the student's mom is just like, listen, we are struggling financially. She goes on to tell me her husband was laid off about 12 months prior, and he's been struggling to find a job. I think he worked in hospitality or something like that. And the hospitality sector was weakened more than and many others from the pandemic. So he was struggling to find a job. He had been unemployed for 12 months. Her salary had been cut by about 75%. So they were barely making ends meet. They were winding down their savings. They were struggling. And she tells me, Craig, listen, this is our only child, and we want to make sure that he goes to the best university possible. Of course, he can't go to any university that costs 200,000 dirhams a year. We want to make sure that he goes to the best university possible. And she says, we have enough savings to afford it, but this will wipe us out. It will wipe us clean. Is there anything more that you can do to help us in this, please? And these are very, very powerful words, coming from, this woman may have been about 45, 50 years old. I'm not sure, but thereabouts. And these are very powerful words coming from 45-year-old, 50-year-old mother. So I tell her, ma'am, I will try to see what I can do. So I spoke to the university. I explained the situation. We got the scholarship changed from 30% to 45%. Got the scholarship changed, all of that stuff. Got the new offer letter. I sent it directly to the mother this time. And I sent it to her on WhatsApp, actually, just for faster communication. And I sent her the new offer letter. And she actually sees the offer letter and then responds back to that with a heart emoji. And she goes on to say, thank you so much, Craig. You don't understand how much of a difference this makes in our life. And that's amazing. This is a woman that I have never met before. I've never met her in person. I don't know who she is. She doesn't know who I am. But this is what she said. And this is one story that I have. But for the people who actually work in our student support team, they have stories like this every day, every week, every month, every intake, every year. And that is incredible.
Craig, what is one piece of advice you would like to give to other aspiring young entrepreneurs looking to make a difference in their respective fields?
One piece of advice that I'd like to give to other aspiring entrepreneurs, there's a saying that I like, and it goes, blessed are those who believe yet cannot see. If you're an entrepreneur of any age per se, but especially so when you're young, you are literally inventing something from scratch and inventing the future along the way. The work that we did with Lock and Stock, it had never been done before here in the UAE. It was a completely new application, a new type of product with SecureMyScholarship as well. There's never been a platform like this before here in the UAE. So it's a completely new, different type of platform. But you are literally inventing the future. Blessed are those who believe yet cannot see. That's very, very important because a lot of people get caught up in the headlines. Entrepreneurs and founders get a lot of glitzy, glamorous headlines. This person raised $2 million. This person raised $10 million. This guy raised $100 million, something like that. But these companies or these founders are few and far between. I mean, they are maybe 100 or 200 founders per se. But what those headlines don't show you are the 1 million other founders whose companies went bankrupt or who are struggling, who can't raise capital. And I know this because we've been there, right? We were not able to raise capital for a long time, and then we did. So it gets better over time. But for a very long time, things were very, very rough. You got to have that belief. You got to have that faith, per se, in yourself. The faith in yourself, the faith in your team, that this is going to work. Because when you start something, when you build a startup, especially a tech-enabled startup, the mortality rate is crazy. But 90% of new tech startups die within the first 12 months. The first 2 or 3 months are very exciting, a lot of fun, a lot of crazy things, whatever. First 2-3 months. After that, reality begins to set in. Maybe the next year or so is incredibly difficult because it's very tough. During that time, if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe in the problem that you are solving, it's going to be very, very, very tough for you. That's when things like burnout and things like mental health, once that starts happening, then your ability to fight is already limited. So believe in yourself, believe in your product, have conviction in the problem that you are solving and the mission that you are on, and never forget that.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now, coming to SecureMyScholarship, you aim to disburse $100 million in scholarships. How are you planning to achieve this?
Growth, I think. We have been growing at about 100 to 150% year over year like clockwork. This has been done primarily organically, really with next to nothing invested in marketing or any such, any paid traffic or anything like that. It's really just bootstrapped guerrilla marketing, word of mouth, referrals, things like that. As we've ridden this growth wave, so about 100 to 150% year over year growth. We've seen our website traffic increase 350% in the last 7 months. All organic. For us to get to 100 million, we need to empower our growth engines. At present time, we've found product market fit. It's working, right? There are universities that love us because we bring them a lot of students. There are students that love us because we are connecting them with scholarships. And the entire model is now fully functioning. What we want to do, and our plan actually, is to raise our Series A next year. We want to raise about $2 to $3 million in growth capital next year as our Series A, and begin to scale from there. So that capital then goes directly into building up our social media platforms, building our traffic to the website, investing in, maybe influencer marketing, investing in more content marketing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because the main thing for us, and in this space, in higher education, the main thing that differentiates successful companies from unsuccessful companies is exposure. It's awareness, right? Because every student, when they turn 18, has to go to university. We need to ensure that every single student, no matter whether they're in Dubai or Qatar or Saudi, Pakistan, or wherever, every single student knows that a platform like SecureMyScholarship exists and is available to them and is free of cost.
Do you have any future plans for additional ventures in the education or technology sectors? What are your future plans like?
From a future plan perspective, I've actually always been someone who likes to focus on the present. I think the future will always work itself out. Mike Tyson once said, everybody's got a plan until they're punched in the face. I try not to think too much about, 4 years or 5 years or 6 years down the line. I try to spend as much of my time focusing on the present, on the here and now, on the short term. But I don't know, right? So our main aim right now is to build SecureMyScholarship into Asia's next great edtech unicorn, per se. We can do that. Fingers crossed. I think that's what we're all working so hard to do. And then post that, I don't know. Let's see, maybe something in edtech, maybe something in another social impact venture. I don't know. Let's see.
Of course, good things to come. Now, we have come to the segment of our show where I'll be asking you a couple of rapid fire questions. It's our version of a game show. So are you ready for it?
Yes, hit me.
Let's begin. Who is your biggest inspiration?
Steve Jobs.
One quote that stood out to you as an entrepreneur.
Good things come to those who wait, but only the things left by those who hustle.
Nice. Okay. Weekends in or weekends out?
Weekends working.
Describe SecureMyScholarship in one word.
Scholarships.
All right. You did fantastic. That was very rapid indeed. And now, before we wrap up, we would like to ask you about your green pill moment. Are you ready for that?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, Craig. So what green pill advice would you give to your younger self?
There's a lot of things that I wish I could say to my younger self, honestly, truth be told. But the one thing that I would like to say to my younger self is to just be patient, I think. I was 20 years old when we founded Lock and Stock. I'm 26 today, so not that much older, but a lot wiser, I'd like to think. But something that I'd like to say to my younger self is to just be patient. When I was younger, when I was 20, 21, 22, in our early years, 2017, 2018, 2019, thereabouts, I wanted everything done there and then. Just turnaround time, 24 hours, this day, same thing, whatever. And I think sometimes good things take time. And I think just being patient, being relaxed, let people work things out. Don't need to rush things or need to hurry things is a piece of advice that I would like to give to my younger self. Because what I came to learn a little bit later is that when you rush things, yes, the output and the turnaround time is a lot faster and the output is a lot quicker. But oftentimes after a year, 6 months or a year and a half, or maybe even 2 years, you end up having to go back and rectify a lot of things that really could have been fixed the first time around if we just planned properly. So that's one piece of advice I'd like to give my younger self. And really, I think advice for any young entrepreneur out there as well.
Well said. Thank you for that, Craig. We have come to the end of the show. So thank you very much, Craig, for sharing your fantastic and inspiring story with us today. I'm sure our audience will enjoy this conversation. So we say goodbye. Can you tell our listeners where they can find and follow you? We're going to put this in the show notes as well.
Please do look us up. Secure My Scholarship is available at www.securemyscholarship.com, web-based platform. It's completely free to use. If you are going to university or know anyone who's going to university, please do check us out. You can find me on LinkedIn, Craig Fernandez. Connect with me if you are a young entrepreneur, if you are an aspiring entrepreneur, if you want to be involved in the creative space, if you're looking for an internship, anything, honestly. Find me, connect with me, drop me a DM. I'd be happy to talk, always happy to help.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thanks again for joining us, Craig, and we wish you all the very best.
Thanks a lot for having me, Namita. It's been a pleasure. Thanks everyone for listening. Take care, everyone.
If you enjoy our conversations, please like and subscribe. See you next Wednesday.